Hey,
Oh boy, oh boy.
welcome to the Pinfall Podcast. I am your host, Liz, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Marcus.
That's me, in case you didn't know.
Um, I was just looking to see how far in advance AEW had tickets
hmm
out for. Um, and at first I was like, "Ooh, there's a New York date coming up," and I was like, "Elmont, New York. I wonder where that is." And then it said Long Island in parentheses, and I was like, "Going to that one." Gotcha. Not the smartest cookie.
This was Smackdown.
Oh yeah, I forgot this wasn't about me watching Arya Daivari. Damn,
Yep.
he looks so good.
Yeah, this was Smackdown. It was a fine Smackdown. I guess there were matches with stakes, which is good. It means the matches mattered. Um, the main event kind of sucked, mostly because of the ending. Um, but Roman with the crown will be an interesting storyline. Um, yeah, it was fine. It was all right.
It was it was it was an episode of SmackDown.
Yeah, you're right. It was.
Can't dispute that. I don't know. I didn't like tonight's episode. I thought there were some good parts, and there were all the matches made some degree of sense, but the problem was that the problem, I guess, for me was that a lot of the outcomes of the matches were dumb as fuck.
Yeah. Um, except one, the Jeff Hardy Sami Zayn match.
Well, the outcome of that was still kind of dumb. I understood it, but it was kind of fucking dumb.
I mean, the storyline kind of made sense. Sammy this whole time has been like gloating and touting himself as the locker room leader and the leader of the team, and it was only a matter of time before somebody else stepped in. But what doesn't fucking make sense and pisses me off, outright pisses me off. Why in the world is Adam Pearce making decisions about the SmackDown fucking team? We established on Raw. He is leading the Raw team. Why is
Sonya was also in the women's locker room the day that Adam Pearce was also in the women's locker room. So,
but remember, Pierce made the decision about Dominic and Bobby. So that made it very clear he was the one who is leading the Raw team. Sonya should be the one leading the SmackDown team based on that logic. But then why is Pierce setting up a match to decide who leaves the SmackDown team? You're just throwing away any kind of competition between the two brands. Now it means nothing. There's
literally
no.
the only person who has been establishing any sort of competition between the two brands, Pat.
Yeah.
That's the only one that's been talking shit about Raw.
Yeah. And
Not
and
even the teams.
I'd say Big E. No, not even Big E at this point.
The teams aren't even talking. Literally, the teams that are supposed to be fighting each other aren't talking shit about the other teams. They're talking shit about each other.
Right. Roman's talking about Big E. He mentioned Big E a couple times.
We haven't even gotten Damien saying I'm gonna beat up Shinsuke. We haven't even gotten that. We haven't even gotten a full card announced. I know we know the card.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't even gotten it announced. My brain cells are being eaten up by this show, I think.
Mine too. Mine too. But less so than Raw. Less so than Raw. All right. Once again, I just want to remind everyone that we will be changing up the format of this show, of these post shows. But it will be with the decision of you fine folks and your opinions, whether we keep doing WWE post shows, keep doing what we're doing normal, whether we do Dynamite and Impact post shows, but the decision there is whether we do a Rampage post show, Rampage live watch along, or a Sunday special random show post show. Could be NJPW, could be Smackdown, could be GCW, could be ICW, could be anything, any show that happens.
GCW
but
still exists.
Yeah, it still exists. It's happening. There's one show happening like a couple weeks.
Okay, so Google, I did not mean Insurance Company of the West.
But yeah, we'll be putting out another poll for that soon. But if any changes were to happen, they would happen after Survivor Series. Nothing will be changed before then. And that's if we're making changes.
Okay. Yeah, and at this point, I personally, as one half of the decision makers on the show, would like to make the change. Because fucking slog.
But if we're gonna lose everyone that watches this show by doing that, it's not that many people as it is, but you're all very special, and we don't want to lose you. You mean a lot to us, as Liz mentions at the end of every show.
But also, if you like watching us, don't you want to see us happy? Don't you want to see us like enjoying ourselves, having fun?
Hey Liz, don't influence them.
Influencing. I guess they're trying to make Dante Martin a part of Team Taz.
What?
It's a little out of left field. Imagine he signs it just so he can get away from Leo Rush.
Miriam says, what if, and I'm just spitballing here, but we see a pinfall podcast coup on WWE. We're the new Retribution.
Yes!
Come in, chainsaw the ropes, and then leave after a couple months.
You just need God to do that at this point.
Yeah.
Apparently God did that to Finn.
All right. So, you want to jump into the news? Oh, wait, I didn't give a little rundown of the episode.
Yeah, you didn't.
Well, in a nutshell. So we had some good matches. There wasn't really a bad match at all today. All of them were very fun. One bad outcome.
Athletically, there was not a bad match.
Yeah. It was, the through line with this episode was Woods and his crown or the bend the knee. That was the through line story of the episode. There was also Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy's storyline, who was getting kicked out. Sami Zayn got booted. There was a 6-woman tag match where Aliyah got her first win on TV in her first match on Smackdown TV, and she got booted from the Smackdown team because of that.
So fucked up. I have never been the biggest Aliyah fan. Like, she deserves better than that. Damn.
I didn't think she should have been on it in the first place, to be honest. I think it should have been Tony.
I didn't think Aliyah should have been on it in the first place either, but still, like, once she was on it, I was like, well, I want to be a dick about it. Specifically, the WWE doesn't have to be a dick about it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was Shinsuke Nakamura, the Intercontinental Champion, was pinned clean So that
Fucked.
happened. But that's really it. Xavier Woods lost his crown against Roman. That match ended in a DQ. Roman stole the crown, and that's that. All right, you want to jump into the news?
Yeah. I just want everyone to know that the fact that I am functional today is fucking shocking. I died. I died a bitter, bitter, grim death.
For those wondering why Liz is saying that, she got the COVID booster.
Yeah, I feel like they're not telling people this because they want to, like, I don't know, like, obviously you want people to get the shot. Like, maybe you don't tell them that, like, it's brutal, but I've heard from everybody that it's fucking brutal. And the lady who gave it to me was like, most people only complain about sore arms. And I'm like, that's because they're dying in bed.
But with that said, before you think Liz is an anti-vaxxer, get vaccinated.
Get your fucking shots. You die for a day, but, like, it's better than, like...
Liz, you gotta be careful about what you say.
Dying forever.
People might misread you.
I never said don't get your shots. I'm just saying that the side effects suck and maybe take a day off from work day after.
You said you'll die in bed, so... Some
I just said
TMZ
you'll die in bed
article.
for, like, a day, but it's better than dying for, like, ever.
TMZ is gonna write a fucking clickbait title saying Liz says, or the Pinfall podcast says you'll die in bed if you get the vaccine.
I'm just saying that it's gonna give you bad side effects and you should probably take a day off from work. That's all I'm saying, guys. I promise. Someone I worked with was like, oh yeah, I'm getting mine next Friday. And I was like, oh, that's probably for the best, because, like, then you got the whole weekend to recover. And he's like, yeah, like, it's for the best if you don't want to do anything on the weekend. And I was like, better than... Actually, no, I missed a day of work and I'm feeling fine about it.
All right, so let's jump into the news.
Yeah, I guess. I just had to add a Ben Affleck looking morose picture to my retweet of the tweet. Let's see. Got a lot of fucking news.
Oh, do we?
So, yeah. Well, it's been a couple days. Let's talk about non-WWE, and by that I mean, I guess NJPW.
Mm-hmm.
The Super Junior 28 participants have been announced. It is Master Wato, Bushi, Dookie, and then we got Ryusuke Taguchi, Taiji Ishimori, Yo, which is awesome. I'm so excited for that. El Phantasmo, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Robbie Eagles, Hiromu Takahashi, Sho, and El Desperado, which is going to be super exciting. I'm really excited for this tournament. I think it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
It's like hella fucking talent. Just balls to the wall. Plus, like, that's going to be happening. Tag League's going to be happening, which means I'm literally going to get non-stop NJPW content. So much. Mark was, like, going through, like, if we were to do a Sunday show for this, for next Sunday, he was going through the different things that, like, are happening between now and then. And it's just, like, something, NJPW, something else, NJPW, something else, NJPW. Because it's literally all that's happening. We also have some AEW news. Apparently, AEW is going to be changing their presentation when the show moves to TBS in, like, 6 weeks. He was on a media call, apparently. He said that they're tweaking the look and feel of the show and that they are prepared to go back if the fans say it sucks.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good idea. I think that's a fair way to look at things.
Especially since it's evident because Tony Khan's very present on social media, so he will always be around opinions of his show.
Yeah. He also did confirm the Battle of the Belts. And he announced that the location of Double or Nothing is going to be held in Las Vegas. It's kind of its homecoming.
Wow, that's perfect.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's where the first one happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's cute.
Makes sense.
He also had to apologize because he kind of got in like a little bit of trouble. He first cut a female interviewer off, Aliyah, because she was asking if they had a plan to do something similar to Power. But like his response was kind of fucked, I guess. His response was, I'm going to cut off your question right there because I don't think I get enough credit for what I did for the NWA show because a good number of the people that wrestled on the NWA show were wrestlers that I sent and paid. So I do think I contributed because the highest paid wrestlers on that show were actually the people I paid separately from what they already make in AEW to go and wrestle on that show. I don't think the NWA did a very good job of telling people that, even though it was in the deal that we did. I wish they told more people because it was one of the points I made when we closed. I said it would be nice if you told people I'm paying the wrestlers to coming in because that's a big contribution for me, if that makes sense. So I did pay the wrestlers for that show. It's kind of like when you pay for a dinner and nobody thanks you. It's like, Tony, darling. I feel like the concept of like, you need to thank me for donating these women is kind of like a fucked way to go from.
Well, think of it this way. The person who owns NWA is a fucking millionaire. And he had to go out of pocket on this to pay them to be on the millionaire's show instead of, the person who booked the show paying them. I think that's less of a cry to the public about what he's doing for women's wrestling and more so what he's like, how shitty this guy is being for not, paying these people to be on his show.
That's not what he said, is it? What he said was, they didn't thank me for bringing these people over. It's not, this guy didn't shell out for these women himself. That's kind of fucked up. It was, the millionaire didn't thank me, the other millionaire, for shelling out.
He used the analogy, it's like picking up the tab and not being thanked for it. Which I assume that analogy is supposed to be towards the people he's picking up the tab for, which is NWA.
Right. So what I'm saying here is more so not that Tony's wrong in that he should have received more acknowledgement from people in charge of NWA. But like that's not the question that was asked, and that was not the way he should have responded to that at all. One, his response was stupid. His response was like, "Oh, they didn't thank me," rather than saying like, "Oh, I don't know, maybe we'll do it. We are." I mean, they already have a problem of not showcasing female wrestling enough in their product, as do many other promotions. It's just a fact. So it's like, if you already have that problem, you, one, should not be cutting off female interviewers. Just to start. Two, if you already have that problem, maybe you should just be like, we'll think about it. Because no one's gonna come back in a couple months and be like, well, you said you'd think about it. What are you saying now? Like, that's not how that works. It was such a stupid way of being like, why didn't nobody thank me, instead of being like, oh, I don't know, maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. We also should just do a better job of showcasing our women.
I do hate to be this person, but in fairness to him cutting off the interviewer, Tony Khan is a very frantic person. I've watched his media scrums, and
No, I know.
he cuts off everyone.
He's twitchy as fuck,
Yeah.
honestly.
But you know what? The business needs it, not slow ass Vince McMahon.
I just think, outside of the cutting the person off, which is just bad etiquette in general, I just think that his response is like it was just off base. You know? It's like, okay, so
Felt like gloating.
yeah, exactly. It's like he made it about him.
Right.
That's the problem I think that I'm having here. He made it about him when that question was not about him at all.
Huh.
Anyways, Tony, just book more women on your shows. Easy enough. Easy as. I don't know. I'm not a fucking booker.
I mean, to throw another comparison out there, look at what WWE's doing.
Listen, no, here's the thing. Here's what I'm saying. This is why I said AEW does a shit job of booking their women. A lot of other promotions do a shit job of booking their women too. At the very least, don't have Beth Phoenix talking about sexual tension in the middle of my fucking episodes of AEW.
Did you know that in the Divas era, women's wrestlers were told to go lighter and not be good? Like, they were told some of their matches are too good because
I knew that.
Looks too
I knew
real.
that.
Because they
I feel like even if you didn't tell me that, I knew that.
They didn't want the women to outshine the men.
Also, that was not hate to Beth Phoenix. I love Beth Phoenix. It was hate to the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Speak of the devil and she shall appear. WWE. Drew McIntyre is presenting an award during the 2021 European Music Awards in Hungary.
Good for him.
I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I hope he has fun. Also, Rob Van Dam, the whole fucking show, married Katie Forbes. Their wedding took place in none other than Las Vegas. And Diamond Dallas Page was there, Chris Bay was there, Karrion Kross was there, Scarlett Bordeaux was there. A fucking cast of characters, if you will.
Yeah.
But apparently Katie Forbes has been like a massive help to him in just like the past years. So happy for them. Congratulations, kids.
Yeah, kids.
Yeah, kids. Also, Walter, I don't know. So Walter originally said he wasn't going to come to the United States because his wife didn't want to. And
he said it was for personal reasons.
Right, which I guess I do remember him saying that it was kind of something that he had agreed to with his wife. I believe that was not just something that came out of anywhere. That said, and I don't fucking blame her. But apparently, unfortunately, I want to say unfortunately, I don't know his life. Apparently he's getting a divorce. So there's a lot of talk lately that he actually might be open to coming over to the States now. Which is interesting because he was just fighting Cesaro. And apparently that match was literally such a banger that the WWE is going to post it on like Peacock or something.
Makes sense.
So
they also had Drew McIntyre and Cesaro versus Walter and Sheamus.
I think I think that Walter's talent is being wasted by NXT UK right now.
Mm-hmm.
entirely.
But he's not
Also,
even
I
on
just
it.
want you to know that the best friends came out dressed up as actual lumberjacks for the lumberjack match.
Good for them.
I think it's very cute. But go on.
Oh, that was it.
Oh, I thought you.
No.
I think you're gonna say more. Yeah, I just want to see him wrestle some of the big guys that the main roster has, and I think that there's no better time than now. So I do hope that this means that he'll come over, but also I just hope that he's happy at the end of the day. That's what matters. That's what matters most here, folks.
Yeah.
Also, last piece of news, I believe, is Corey Graves. Corey Graves, I guess, wants to come out of retirement and wrestle.
Is he retired?
Well, he had too many concussions. He kind of had a Samoa Joe deal. Which, fine. Whatever.
Either have him be managed by Carmella, or him manage Carmella. Either way, both of them need to be working together in the ring. Because I know that would be some really funny stuff.
Yeah, I think the only reason why I'm down for a Corey Graves return is because I want to stop listening to him bully Byron Saxon. I'm so tired.
Yeah, but somebody else will take over and bully him instead.
No, because Jimmy's also tired, and you can hear it in his voice every fucking week.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, our last piece of news is that apparently Scary Spice called Sami Zayn a pussy.
Good for him. Good
for
her.
Take that how you will. I saw that and I was like, one, what is Scary Spice doing there? Two, why is she calling Sami Zayn a pussy?
We do need to speed through the rest of...
Oh, no, that's the last... I told you, that's the last piece of news.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. So, let's get into
that fucking trap again.
Let's get into the recap of the episode now. Like I said, very, very average episode. We started off with Sonya in the ring with the Women's Survivor Series team, except one. She introduces everyone on the team and introduces Sasha Banks. She comes out, everyone starts arguing, and Naomi runs out, and a brawl starts. And then we get Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Aliyah versus Shotzi, Natalya, and Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, so we start with Natalya versus Sasha. Sasha takes a Cazadora into a facebuster to Natalya. Shotzi looked good in this match. What part she was in.
I thought Natty looked great.
Honestly, a lot of these women looked pretty good.
Yeah.
It was just that I spent most of the time not remembering the fact that Sasha's a face. So I was like, why the fuck is she on this team? Like, why is Natty not on the team and then Sasha's with the other kills? I don't know. Very confusing. But I figured it out pretty shortly after. So Natty or Aliyah breaks out of the Cure Fuda clutch. So I guess like that move really is dead.
It's been dead for so long. Everyone's been countering it.
I didn't know. Why aren't they letting her get a new move then? Let her debut a new move.
She needs to have the elbow stomp be her finisher.
So tired. She did get the elbow stomp successfully today. Natalya ends up suplexing Naomi off the apron, onto the ground, very nearly like smacking her into the announce desk, which was very scary for a second. She also hits Naomi with a nasty ringside snap suplex. Like, and by snap suplex, I mean like snap suplex, like fucking right into the ground. Back in the ring, she got a big old lariat. And then Naomi kind of was subjected to like a 5-minute beatdown from various members of the opposing team.
Yeah.
Which,
like, they were paid by Sonya.
like, does not sit right by any means. But anyways.
I mean, it's probably going to be clipped and used next week and shown by Sonya as, see, Naomi, you can't do shit. And then she'll say, well, I helped Aliyah win, so...
When is this story going to turn? Like,
can turn soon. I think it's going to result in a Naomi Aliyah tag team.
Maybe. So it nearly ends when Naomi sends Shayna to the apron, and enzuigiri's her to the ringside area. It's not quite the end of it. Eventually, Naomi is slings herself into Aliyah to tag her in. Aliyah gets the ground and pound twice on Natalya, then hits her with a neck breaker. And then Aliyah wins by rolling Natalya up through the sharpshooter after Naomi hangs Natalya up on the rope because Natalya was using the rope as leverage, which is not legal anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we have a promo from Sami Zayn. He says, I'll do anything in my power to ensure victory. The camera zooms out, and he's talking to himself in the mirror. He says, now is the time for us all to work together. Camera pans over, and we see Jeff Hardy standing there. Sami sees Jeff and stays quiet. He says, how much of that did you get? Jeff says, I've been here the whole time. Sammy's like, what'd you think? Jeff says, honestly, it sucked. We then get an interview with Aliyah. Sonya walks in, and she says, how long have you known Naomi for? Don't answer that. I've been advised that you're no longer on the Smackdown Women's Survivor Series team. Oh, hold on, I gotta take her phone. Rings. He takes it, leaves, and then we get an interview with Roman Reigns. He says, you're either here to acknowledge me, or you're here to flirt with the wise man. Wise man, smarten her up. And Paul says, I shall do my best. I'm upping the ante against Xavier Woods. Live tonight, Xavier will take a bended knee and acknowledge Roman. If Roman is not man enough to do that to Xavier, then Roman will bend a knee to Xavier. If Roman violates this stipulation, he can be stripped of the title. What I said is a legal and binding oral contract in the Commonwealth of, was it West Virginia or Virginia?
Virginia.
Doesn't that make tonight's show a lot more interesting? We then get Madcap Moss and Corbin promo. Madcap Moss told a joke. I didn't hear it. Couldn't hear. I didn't catch any of it. But then we get Shinsuke Nakamura. Huh?
Did he tell a joke?
Yeah, he did. Something about puppy, I think. I don't know. But yeah, then we get Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs versus Los Lotharios.
You know, what can I say here? What can I say? Boogs is in first. Boogs looks strong as hell. Looks good. He's just fucking tossing Humberto. With like a multiple gut wrench suplex that he gut wrenches him multiple times before suplexing him. I don't know how to describe that better, but Angel ends up getting in with some cross faces to Boogs. Then Shinsuke gets in. He's fighting Umberto for 90% of the time. He hits a big knee across the face of Umberto. Angel breaks the cover, but Boogs takes Angel from the ring. Nakamura is going for the Kinshasa, but Angel pulls Umberto from the ring. And then back in the ring, they hit their team offense.
I think it's like a sweep the leg and something, lariat. I don't know.
I'm not sure. But who was it? Was it Angel that just rolled him up after that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Yeah. Angel just fucking beats Shinsuke.
Pins him clean. No hijinks in any way. Well, that shows how much they care about the Intercontinental title.
It's so funny to me. I feel like the Intercontinental title is like so shat upon by the writers, whereas the United States title isn't quite as much, I feel like.
It goes back and forth. Remember?
I guess it does.
Remember the
It's
IC
like,
title when AJ Styles fought Daniel Bryan?
it's like they have the interns write for one title for like a couple months, then they switch them over, and like the real writers step in.
Yeah. But
Or maybe they just like take those writers like off, like they only have one team of writers for like the mid-card title. And then like when those writers are not writing for one title, then you have Apollo versus Bobby Lashley 15 times.
yeah, but then
That's how that happens.
Then Bobby lost that title in a great way. Yeah, like I said, it goes back and forth. God. Then we had then we go backstage. We see Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville, and Von Wagner.
What the fuck? And also, can I just say, why is Von standing there like this?
Because
he wants to make his like tits look bigger. We get it, Von. You're jacked.
Well, no, they faithfully took his character from NXT and brought him up to the main roster, where he doesn't do anything.
So look, Kyle's just that good of a mentor.
Kyle's gonna get the singles run we all want him to get, unless they stick him with Braun Breaker now.
Or they just release him, please.
You don't want to be out of a job.
Sorry, release is not the correct word in this current climate. His contract is almost up. And he doesn't look happy.
Mm-hmm.
Is where I'm going with this.
But anyway, we see Von Wagner without any kind of explanation. Sammy walks in. He says, "You should have seen how Jeff Hardy disrespected me. I demand you remove him." And Pierce says, "You know what? Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe it's a good idea to make the team stronger. You and him will have a match, and the loser leaves the team." And then I said, "Wait a minute, Pierce. You lead the Raw team. You're sabotaging the Smackdown team." Unless Pierce leads both men's teams and Sonya leads both women's teams. And they're not competing between the teams, they're competing between the sexes. Whoever gets the highest rating wins. In which case,
Oh.
Sonya, you're fighting a losing battle.
Honestly, the women's team, we're just gonna be lucky if we get like if both women's matches last longer than at least one of the men's matches, I will be stunned.
Do you think Aliyah's gonna pull Alana? Oh no, Aliyah's not on the team. Never mind. Do you think someone's gonna pull Alana? Just stand there, crying, and win?
Remember when they infantilized Lana and it was very uncomfortable for everybody involved?
Yeah.
Both fans and Lana alike.
Mm-hmm. So then we get Charlotte Flair in the ring. She says Becky Lynch has gone from being the Irish lass kicker to the man to Becky Two Belts to big time Bex. Who the hell are you? There is nothing natural about you. You're just a fabricated champion. I'm not saying you've never had moments because of me. At Survivor Series, you're gonna have a new nickname, Becky. Uh-oh.
What? What?
Charlotte beat me. Uh-oh.
What does that mean?
I came back from having a baby too soon. Uh-oh. Not only can I beat Becky, I can beat any woman that steps through those ropes. Just by being in the ring with me, Shotzi made a name for herself in the division. Even when I beat you, you become a star. My nickname should be the Star Maker. And then when Tony Storm comes out, and I said, fuck yeah, Tony, hell yeah, Tony, hey Tony.
I like that we get Tony time on at least 2 out of 3 products.
Yeah. So she says, reality is, you don't actually do any of that. The person you were just talking about, she defended her title on Raw like last week. Have you defended your title since you've been on SmackDown? Nope, can't say that you have. Why don't you put your money where your mouth is and accept my challenge for the title tonight? And Charlotte says, no. And then we get an interview with King Woods. He says,
I like that you've just glossed over how pointless that entire interaction was.
No, because we're going to get that match probably like next week or something. Or after Survivor Series. It's going to happen. Imagine Liv gets the title before Survivor Series and Tony gets the title before Survivor Series, and then this whole card, the Becky and Charlotte card, hasn't mattered at all. That would be peak. I would love that. That would honestly be my favorite kind of booking right there. You book for one match, hilarious. You actually book a different match. Alright, so we get an interview with King Woods. He says, I guess I have to fight Roman with one hand tied behind my back. They are sorely mistaken. I'm gonna get real quick. With Roman being injured and Big E getting power bombed on the apron, the New Day has had it rough. But that will change tonight. I'm about to storm the island of relevancy and plant my flag in the name of King Woods. Roman wants to be a king, huh? Let's get serious. And then we said, Roman is the king. All hail King Roman. I acknowledge thee. Then we get Aliyah in a promo with Mustafa. And he says, Aliyah, I get it. One moment you're on top, the next everything comes crumbling down. It turned into the worst moment of your life. Ricochet then walks in. He says, I wouldn't believe a word he says. You crushed it tonight. Keep your head high and keep moving forward. And they both walk away together. And Mustafa's standing there like, fuck.
I love that he's just like, he's just coming around to fucking stir the pot a little bit, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just here like, don't you also hate this fucking place? Don't you also hate it? Do you want to do something? No, Mustafa, calm down.
And then we get Jeff Hardy versus Sami Zayn. The loser leaves the Survivor Series team.
Dude, this was fucked up. So there's a hip toss to Sami. Then Jeff mounts him in the corner, like 2 feet on the second rope, with some jabs to the forehead. He can't get the stummer on Stummer. That's different. Can't get the stunner on Sami, as Sami counters with a knee to the jaw of Jeff. Sami then bops out of the ring, only to get a basement dropkick. Back in the ring, Jeff... Oh, no, not back in the ring. Ringside. Jeff goes for the senton, but Sami avoids it, and Jeff goes ass first into the barricade. Just... I was almost worried that he was going to go over the barricade, honestly.
Look nasty on his tailbone.
Yeah, no, I worry about Jeff's tailbone more often than I feel like I should.
Oh, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and that thing's been probably ground down. I think it's probably metal at this point.
Yeah.
Back in the ring, Sami's choking out Jeff. We gonna get our fucking... Oh, Jeff. Oh, Jeff. Jeff Hardy.
Hey, Jeff.
Jeff with the inverted atomic double leg drop kick. Fucking... I'm gonna make a list of, like, moves that I fucking hate. And above Caden Carter's stupid-ass corner shit, putting Jeff's fucking series of offense. It's so stupid, Jeff. You do it every fucking match.
Hey.
Someone's gonna have to learn to kick out of some part of it.
Hey.
I love you, Jeff. I do.
You want to know my 2 least favorite moves?
What?
The 619, which is just... One of them is the 619, which is just as set up as Caden Carter's. And the other one's the People's Elbow.
Fair, we haven't seen the People's Elbow in years.
Good.
It's not true. I've seen the People's Elbow very recently, actually, but whatever. It feels like it's been years. I just... love Jeff. Get it. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm sure you can, but whatever. Not the point. I hate it so much. I hate that he does this so much. He always does it. Incredible.
Everyone's got their signature. You see, the reason he does it so
much... It's
not
a signature, it's just 5 fucking moves.
The reason he does it so much is because nobody's countered it.
No one has. I just don't get how no one has.
He does them so damn fast.
Anyways, that doesn't get him the pin. Shockingly. He gets the whisper in the wind that would not have fucking hit if Sami had not fucking stuck out both arms in the attempt to make the move hit. Then Sami goes for a backslide. It doesn't work. There's a stunner to Sami. Sami ends up rolling Jeff up, but he gets his legs up on the rope, and Jess Carr sees it and is like, you can't fucking do that. That's not legal. Then we get a twist of fate right afterwards and a swanton bomb for Mr. Jeffrey Hardy to win, and Sami Zayn has to watch as his render is just faded from view.
That is so... It was so sad watching him watch that.
It wasn't nice.
You see, this is where we need... Like, Sami's got to keep up the whole conspiracy gimmick. Like, this will add on to it perfectly. Get the fucking... Get the documentary back.
I'm so confused. Like, are we still doing... Like... I guess what I'm confused about right now is, like, are we... What is the Elder Statesman gimmick going to roll into the conspiracy gimmick? Because, like, he's doing the Elder Statesman thing now, and I don't know if that's, like, just part 2.
I think the conspiracy thing's over. I think it ended with Kevin Owens.
So he's still off his ass, though.
Yeah. But he's moved on from the conspiracy. He knows WWE's out to get him. Like, they've proven that. But now he's given up. He's fine with it now.
Sure.
Oh, the match is
Sure.
over.
Whatever.
So we then get a promo with Hit Row. They're rapping. I didn't quite catch anything specific that they were talking about. But then we get Jinder and Shanky.
What the fuck, first of all?
So
Jinder and Shanky, one, endeared me tonight. Two, Shanky had no business.
So Shanky,
being such a good rapper.
So yes, as you said,
assuming we know what he said made sense.
Shanky starts off by saying, "I'm the real Slim Shanky," and he puts on a hat that's kind of backwards and crooked, and starts rapping in Indian. Oh, is Indian the language? Is there a different language?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not familiar.
Hindi.
Okay. Hindi. But yeah, he starts rapping, and the flow is great. And then he starts saying "Ice, Ice, Shanky," and then Jinder says, "DJ Shankenstein, give me a beat." Jinder starts rapping. It's not good. And it's basically a call up to Hit Row. But do they say anything shitty about Hit Row?
Well, they're doing the same fucking thing that they did with Legato. Where they're like, Jinder was like making fun of like...
Wait, with Legato?
Sorry, they're doing the same thing that Legato did.
Huh.
With Hit Row. They're making it like this like culture war. It's very weird.
I won't call it a culture war until Hit Row does something to mock Jinder and Shanky being Indian.
Yes, but I just feel like it's weird that they like this is like the only feud that Hit Row is allowed to be a part of, like, genre-wise. It feels very weird and frankly,
WWE likes to group factions and stables by culture.
It's also a problem.
All right. So it's also why we might be seeing the bar return, but with Ridge Holland instead of Cesaro. So after that, we get a little vignette for Xia Li coming soon. We then get an interview with Ridge Holland. He says, "I was speaking from the heart. Last week, Sheamus is my idol. I never thought I'd leave the streets of Lead. Then I saw Sheamus making a living. I never knew I could make good money by hurting people. I'm proud to follow in his footsteps." Cesaro walks in. He says, "I've known Sheamus for a long time. We didn't set the bar, we were the bar. His attitude lately, heads up, be careful." Ridge says, "I know all about your relationship with him. I'm taking your place. We will be a far more effective tag team than the bar was. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can take it up with Sheamus." And then we get Roman versus Xavier Woods. Oh, real quick question about Ridge and Sheamus. Do you think, after what Ridge said about making money off of violence, do you think Sheamus will turn face and be like, "Oh, that's not a good thing. I didn't endorse this. You shouldn't have been learning this from what I've been doing"? Or do you think Sheamus will be like, "Hell yeah, violence. Let's do it"?
Oh, Sheamus is going to be down for the count on that one. He's going to be so into it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Does that mean we're going to get a Cesaro-Sheamus feud? What?
Imagine.
Yeah, you gotta keep in mind the audio crowd. Can't see your mouth move. Yeah. Anyway.
Imagine.
Okay, that was good. All right, you want to?
Thank you.
You want to talk about the match?
Yeah. So Roman gets up on the second rope. He's beating down Woods. Woods reverses into the same position. Ends up drop kicking Roman from the ring, and then Woods rightfully goes ringside, only to end up getting dropped into the announce desk. There is a knee under the jaw of Roman, but Roman bites back with a boot to the face of Woods. He goes for a back body drop or like a belly to back suplex, but Woods ends up landing on his feet. The heel kick to the face of Roman, and then a choke slam to Woods. Woods ends up with the upper hand on Roman. As he goes to cover, who's there but the fucking Usos to DQ the goddamn match?
Yep. But it turns out that a mistake was made, and that was Xavier Woods lost his crown to Roman. We're basically getting the King Nakamura and King Corbin feud. So we'll see how this pans out. This will probably be done better, but
So do you think this means no more King Woods?
no, I think we're still getting King Woods. I think he's just got to fight for his crown now. He's got to beat Roman. All right, so that's
Goofy as shit.
That's the wrap up. That's the recap of the episode. Stay tuned, everybody. We've got our bests of the night and our question segment. After that, if you're watching in the live chat, leave a question in the chat and we'll answer it after our bests of the night. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment and we'll get to that in the next episode. And if you're listening in the audio realm, join us at the live show. We'd love to chat with you. All right, so let's talk about promo of the night.
Woohoo!
I don't know. I mean, Paul talking to Kayla is always fantastic. I kind of want to give it to Von Wagner just because it made me fucking cackle.
Honestly, I would not blame you.
Charlotte and Tony killed it out there, in my opinion. Shanky's rapping. Ooh. You know what? I'm gonna give it to Charlotte and Tony. I thought they both did fantastic in their promo, and seeing Tony potentially in the title scene is so awesome.
Can I give it to you on like the stipulation that it better end in Tony in the title scene?
Yeah, if it doesn't happen, do you want to renege this? Do you want to delete this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. So let's talk about Wrestler of the Night. Not much to talk about. Give you two options, I guess. Natalya and Xavier Woods.
I don't want to give it to Natalya.
Really? Okay. That's interesting. I guess I'll go with you.
You gave me the option.
I did give you the option. I didn't think you would go with it, though. All right. So, let's talk about match of the night. As always, we go from the worst match to the best match, and Liz will say if she agrees with the best match. So, worst match, the 5 out of 10, Roman Reigns versus Xavier Woods. For a Woods-Roman match, this was pretty slow and pretty clunky.
Yeah.
And the finish wasn't great either. I mean, the crown being transferred, that was fun. It's interesting. Everything else kind of sucked. But everything in between was pretty decent. Next up, another 5 out of 10. Shinsuke and Rick Boogs versus Los Lotharios. It was decent. Wish Shinsuke hadn't gotten pinned, but no. What are you gonna do? Book him right? As if.
No.
Alright, next up, 6 out of 10. Naomi, Aliyah, and Sasha Banks versus Shotzi, Natalya, and Shayna Baszler. It was a decently fun match. It was good seeing the best out of some of these wrestlers. Wish we'd get some more out of like Shayna, but I thought whoever looked good looked great. And then finally, my pick for match of the night: Jeff Hardy versus Sami Zayn. I thought it was a very fun, clean match. Jeff looked great. Sami looked great. It was just great fun, and it was a clean stipulation. Match ended how it should have, and all's right in the world.
I have to agree. I think this was like the one match that really stuck with me too. At the end, you know.
Yeah. All right. So, you want to answer some questions?
I'll answer a question.
We've got Miriam's question on Twitch. We'll start with that one. We've got, let me check YouTube. Excuse me. Let's start with Miriam's. She says, or she asks, who do you guys think will be the guy to beat Roman Reigns? Someone already on the main roster or someone currently on NXT? Von Wagner.
Part of me wonders with the Walter news, maybe it could be. It's someone who would make sense. It's someone who would make sense. Just statistically. That's someone who would make sense.
It is pure babyface. You're going to get a pure babyface out of this. I you know, a couple months ago, I would have said Finn. Would have been the guy.
I don't know.
Cesaro.
I feel like that's the problem now, is that like I don't know who's gonna beat him, and I don't know if I can like
I think it's gonna be someone on the main roster. I don't think they would push somebody from NXT that quickly. Daniel Bryan should have been the guy. Cesaro should have. Finn 100% should have been the guy.
Yeah.
It's tough. Maybe Woods. Woods could
I was
be
actually
the guy.
who I was about to say.
I mean, he is one of the top baby faces in the company, especially now with the King gimmick, and he is in that scene. Whether or not he's just for the Survivor Series stuff, who knows? But they're making a good case for him to be the guy, especially since Roman needed the help from the Usos to beat Xavier, and Xavier already beat Bobby Lashley. Clean.
It's true.
There's a great case for Woods to be the guy.
It really is. There is. There absolutely is.
But will he be? Drew could be the guy.
If it's not Woods, it's going to be Drew, I think. Because I think that that's what they're doing with Drew right now, is they're building him up to be this big badass of a guy and kind of a tweener. Yeah.
Yeah. Or it could be Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Just you wait.
I'll hold out. He's not even on SmackDown, is he?
No.
Okay. Like, wait.
Roman's not losing it till the next draft.
Jesus, fuck.
They
better have 2 drafts next year, then make one in April.
Alright, so Milam asks, late follow-up on this one, but horror movies don't seem Liz's bag as much as Mark's, so what are some of your favorite under-the-radar non-horror films, Liz?
Woo-wee! Under the radar non-horror films. I had 41 films in my head. Now they're gone. No, one of my favorite films, it's like it can be a really tough watch. Is the film This Is England. Which was one of the first times I ever saw Joe Gilgun in something. And as Mark knows, Joe Gilgun is one of my favorite actors. That's a really good movie. I've never, ever heard of anybody else really talk about it. And maybe that's because it's more of a... I think it might be bigger in Britain, but it's just got a lot of actors that like we don't really see in American media. But that's a really good film. It is a really tough watch, though. Like, it can be very unsettling. But it was then... brought into these, like, 3-episode miniseries. I think there's 3 seasons of it. Called This Is England 86, 88, and 90. Like, years.
Mm-hmm.
Which are also really tough watches. Especially 86. But it's super good. And then I also really love Palo Alto by Sofia Coppola. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Do I like other movies? Besides those two?
Well, what I could recommend one that you would definitely recommend. American Animals. I recommend that to everybody I know that likes movies or doesn't. Watch American Animals. It is one of my favorite movies ever. I know Liz loves it. I don't know what other under the radar movies you know.
I'm trying to think. Like I watch a lot of movies. I do. I promise. Let's see. Wish there was like a way to like
see how
look at
all the movies you've watched.
Like Mark ranks all of his movies. So like there's like a record of what he's watched. I don't rank movies. I don't buy movies. Hot
Rod.
Hot Rod is a good under the radar movie. I one movie that I really like. There's what is it? But it's got guy from Columbo. In-Laws. I don't know if this is really under the radar. I don't know how big it was when it was made because it's from like the 70s.
I hadn't heard of it.
Okay. That so funny. It is one of the funniest movies I have ever watched. It is so stupid and yet not so stupid that it's like bad. It's just stupid in that like it's like it's like you don't have to like you don't have to be like smart to enjoy it, but like it's like fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. I think the I'm looking at like even in our Netflix, there's not a ton of like movies that I've watched.
Would you count Palm Springs as under the radar? You like that?
I did like that. Yeah, I think This Is England is one of the movies that I would recommend over and over to people, assuming that like they can kind of stomach it. It's just got best way I can kind of describe why it's hard to watch is because about this kid who gets in, like, he's kind of, it's so hard to describe. Basically, the punk movement it's about like skinheads and how they're like Nazis kind of became skinheads as opposed to like people, I guess, kind of like standing out for themselves. It was more like the punk movement kind of got co-opted by Nazis. And it talks about that kind of like intersection, and this kid tries to like fit in with people, and he's getting bullied, and he starts fitting in with these skinheads, and it becomes a whole thing. So like there's a lot of like racial stuff, which is why it's a very tough watch, but it's a very like, it's just, the script is really interesting. It doesn't feel very scripted, and Ludovico Einaudi is one of the main like I think he was the only composer for it, and his music is just stunning. So basically what I'm saying is if you're comfortable with it, you should watch it. It's really fucking good. Thank you. Coming to my TED Talk.
Wow, after that Roger Ebert review, how can you not? And because I can't talk about movies and not make recommendations of my own. Last Black Man in San Francisco. One of my favorite movies of all time. Killing Them Softly. Upgrade. My favorite action movie ever. And Never Grow Old. Is about an undertaker. And Peeping Tom. I think I talked about that last time, about horror movies. Yeah. Those are, and this Japanese movie called Shadow. Fantastic movie. Anyway, I'm done interjecting. Liz, that's all the questions that we have. Would you like to close out the show?
You know what I'd love to do? I'd love to remember movies that I watched.
What?
Oh yeah, so wait, real quick. Oh, I just wanted to explain what I was trying to say earlier. Basically, the skinhead movement was working class youths in London trying to kind of like stand out and like, you know, like they were pissed off because they were being shit on, basically. There was no upward trajectory, which then became co-opted by like people being like, well, you know who's causing those problems now. I just feel like if you don't know about that, then me saying this movie about skinheads is really interesting sounds a little weird. Once you get that part, you're like, oh, okay. I promise.
Green Room is about neo-Nazis, and I've heard really good things about that. Same with what's the name of that movie with Edward Norton? Curb Stomps a guy.
Oh, American History X.
Yeah, that's it. All right, Liz.
For obvious reasons, I'm not comfortable with a lot of Nazi movies, but also Hanukkah's coming up.
You want to close out the show?
Yeah, I guess I'll start my show. Close out.
What? Starting
Meg is
the
on
show?
right now, dude. I'm so confused.
Oh, we're not live.
If you tuned in tonight, thank you so much. And if you tune in the future, thank you so much. Happy almost Thanksgiving, I guess. I don't fucking know. I hate Thanksgiving.
Happy Veterans Day.
I prefer Thanksgiving.
If you're a veteran and you were a lower class person who went to the military out of desperation and forced to fight for this country and commit horrible acts, I'm getting way more political than I should be. then happy Veterans Day to you.
I used to have the military recruiters come to my school and sit in our lunch cafeteria during lunchtime. It was very weird.
Same.
Anyways, gives you a little knowledge on where I came from. Either way. Yeah, so please tune in to us tomorrow night, I think.
You're the one who's supposed to be booking that.
I've obviously had a couple things going on lately.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a full gear post show. I'm gonna be miserable because I have to be up early the next morning, but we'll do it. I just have to make a graphic.
It's gonna be looser than like a regular post show, my opinion.
And you need to tell me if we have a guest for that or not.
I will talk to you about that soon. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. And I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow.
Thank you all so much for watching. Follow and subscribe. Check us out on YouTube, The Pinfall Podcast. All of our previous episodes are there. If you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify, join our live show, twitch.tv/The Pinfall Podcast. And if you want to listen to us on your mobile device, we're on Spotify. Search The Pinfall Podcast, and we're right there. Our Twitter is @Pinfall Podcast. I'm @TheMarkCameron. Liz is @Eliza_Elaine23, and we'll see you tomorrow night for our full gear post show. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you then.